This is your friendly neighborhood talent strategy nerd, Dr. Jim, and I am live from HR Transform at the Wynn Resort in Las Vegas. And joining me today, we have Rachel, the VP of People at OpenPhone, and she's going to bust some myths with us. Thanks for hanging out.
Okay.
Before we dive into the conversation, Rachel, what I'd like you to do is give the viewers a little bit more detail about what you're involved with, some of the details about OpenPhone, maybe some of the cool things that you have going on.
Absolutely. My name is Rachel Kleban. I'm the VP of People at a company called OpenPhone, and we are a voice over IP collaborative phone system for small businesses, helping them connect with their customers. And I joined as the VP of People about 6 months ago, and I've been really focused on putting in place the structure that the team needs to grow. So things like compensation systems, performance management, figuring out how to get together and be connected in a remote world. Prior to that, I was consulting, and prior to that, worked for companies like Airbnb and The Gap.
The voice over IP space is pretty crowded, and you're still fairly a new employee at OpenPhone. What was it about the company that drew you in?
Good question. On the business side, I really love what OpenPhone is doing to connect with really not just small businesses, but like micro SMBs, mom and pop shops, and really the difference between catching a phone call and missing a phone call could be that month's business. And so I really love what we're doing to help those small businesses really stay connected with their customers and build their business.
Thanks for
Yeah,
sharing that. All right, you ready to bust some myths? All
sure.
right. All week, we've been interviewing senior and executive leaders and talking to them about the leadership and HR myths that they wish would just die. So, what's yours?
I think sometimes there's a myth that employees can't understand our message or they can't take in the information when it's provided transparently, that we need to massage, we need to HR it. And I think that when HR leaders treat employees like smart humans that we hired to do important jobs and are transparent and honest about the decisions that we make and why we do it, the outcomes are so much better. And trust is built in that way.
That's an interesting point that you're bringing up. And the way that I translate it in my head is treat your people like adults. I guess if the myth is that you need to over engineer a message
Yeah.
to make sure that it's received, what are some best practices or steps that people leaders in general can take to be more effective in their messaging?
Honestly, it starts with making good decisions. I had a boss who said, would you put it on a billboard? And that has stuck with me because if you can't honestly and transparently explain why a decision was made, maybe I need to go back and look at that decision and say, was that the right decision? But I think that really being direct in your messaging, again, treating people like adults, making assumptions and bringing them along in that process. Why, starting with why did we make that decision? How are we going to implement this change? What does it really mean for you? Yes, that is Simon Sinek's start with why. I think employees really appreciate it. I've gotten feedback from employees directly who said, wow, like particularly on compensation. Wow, I've never worked somewhere that's so transparent about how decisions are made about comp. We really appreciate it. And so I think it pays a lot of dividends in that way.
Great stuff, Rachel. I appreciate you sharing that. And if I were to put everything that you just talked about on a bumper sticker, I'd say, tell the truth and don't be afraid. It's usually a good policy. So thanks for hanging out with us. If
Right.
people want to continue the conversation, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, find me on LinkedIn. You'll see that I'm both the VP of People and founder of a small company called Level Up. And I try to post my ideas there as much as I can.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for hanging out.